Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Reina Reyes from the National Institute of Physics at UP Diliman, and I'm thankful for the opportunity today to share with you at this year's SPVM conference some thoughts and insights on communicating physics to the Filipino public. Since I came back home to the Philippines in 2014 from graduate studies and postdoc abroad, I've been I've had the privilege of having many opportunities to share about science and pursuing a career in science and physics to many different audiences around the country. Um, as you know, speaking to the public is very different from speaking in a technical scientific conference to our peers, such as in today's session. But the insights and lessons that I learned from here and that I'll share with you today, I think can also help us in communicating science in general to our peers, to our students, and of course to the more broader public that we also want to engage. So some things that I've learned so far, so I'll share with you three takeaways that I've found that worked and that I'll relate to some of the initiatives that I'll share with you today. The first one is to start with the world. We'll start with that. And the background is that in traditional learning, it's actually, it doesn't start with the world, no, but it ends with the world. So we are all familiar with this, and we actually have gone through this, and we do this ourselves in our classes. We start with the lecture, we start with the lesson, the concept, and then we do an experiment to illustrate the concept, and then we ask the students to reflect, and then only finally do we say, okay, maybe you can do a project and apply what you learned to the real world. But one insight that was shared with me by fellow teachers from the progressive education school told me that, actually lifelong learning, which is what we want to cultivate in our learners and in everyone. It actually starts with the world. You start with the self and the world of the learner, or in this case, the audience. And one concept that he shared with me is this concept of realia. These are real world objects or artifacts that facilitate learning and interaction. So basically, it's just the real thing, we know that physics is abstract, and that's one of the reasons it is intimidating and deemed difficult. And it is difficult, but it also describes the real world. So there's really so many ways we can connect it, and to the world of the learner using real world, using this realia. And the concept here is further refined by saying that there are actually many levels of realia, and from the highest to the lowest, the highest one, the higher the level, you actually have a higher engagement with the learner. And the highest level is the actual object, the thing itself. But if you cannot get that, you can have a replica of the object or a scale model. The next level would be a video, and then maybe a photograph. And only at the lower level, you have the drawings and written descriptions, which we use a lot in our physics classrooms, right? But the idea here is that you can actually engage and spark the intrinsic curiosity of your audience and your learners if you present them with a higher level of realia first, before maybe simplifying to drawings and abstract concepts later. So here I have a picture of a chair, and this comes from a story that was shared with me about a very memorable physics lesson, first physics lesson on vectors, but instead of writing on the board, drawing arrows, the teacher actually asked the person to push the chair horizontally while the teacher pushes it vertically, and the concept stayed with that person throughout her life. And this is the impact of having the high levels of realia weaved into uh, how we communicate physics. Um, I've been lucky to be involved in this project. It's actually a show, science show for grade school students. It's called Sciences, and it's produced, created together with a team at Knowledge Channel. And here we do fun and easy to do experiments using objects that can be easily found or found at home or bought at a store. And we actually do the experiments on the show, and of course encourage the the viewers to try it out for themselves. So in a way, this is like the video level of realia, where you actually show what will happen. Here we have a classic demo of static electricity, and it's really fascinating. I mean, it's really different if you do it yourself and seeing the can, move without anyone touching it. We also have a very simple refraction experiment, um, and a fun surface tension experiment where you have a paper clip floating on top of the water, and you put a smidge of dishwashing liquid, and then see what happens. There's that aha moment when the paper clip drops, and then that's when you try to have them observe and explain, and also introduce the concept of surface tension. So we do this clips. Unfortunately, now we cannot do it in the studio, but we're able to shoot at home and use animation, which is a lower level of realia, but you have to to do the best you can. And whenever possible, we still do videos of actual demos. These are uploaded to the Knowledge Channel's Facebook page and YouTube channel every Tuesday afternoon. So um, hope to do many, many more of these for our young Filipino learners. Um, the next mantra I wanted to share is this idea of creating love for the subject. Again, coming from our usual hat as educators, as teachers, there we approach the subject traditionally. It's about about teaching, about giving knowledge, but at the same time, actually, you want to pose the question of what if our primary goal is not really to give knowledge, but to create love for our subject, the subject that we love, in the learner or in the audience, so that they themselves will find it in themselves to learn more and to learn uh, for themselves, so that love, that curiosity is something that we can actually cultivate. um, so I'll share a recent initiative that I started during the pandemic. I think it was also my quarantine hobby and way of reaching out, despite the fact that we cannot meet physically at this time. So I started creating these science FAQs, video explainers on YouTube, uh, which answers questions that are commonly asked by people of all ages, uh, and answer them in the vernacular, in Filipino and mixed Filipino and English. So we have a video on time travel, on aliens, the possibility of aliens, and on the parallel universes. But of course, answering these in the scientific point of view and introducing scientific concepts. So there are also videos now about introducing concepts in quantum mechanics, in general relativity, as well as optics, so basic electromagnetic spectrum. So I'll just share with you some of the comments I've gotten. So in this video on time travel, someone said na, "Salamat po for explaining in Tagalog. It feels like a more natural conversation para sa Filipino brain ko." So I think this shows, and I think it also resonates with me, even for me as explaining things in Filipino, is very different, no? And it really connects at a deeper level. So something that I think also resonates with many of the viewers. And then in this video, I actually answered a question from comment, and I've also planned to answer the other questions from the comments in future videos. And in this case, the person who asked also commented on the video and said, na now so the question was about time dilation and how it affects and if it affects biological aging. And then I answered about explaining the gravitational time dilation effect using, as a concrete example, someone in Baguio, living in Baguio versus someone living in Metro Manila, and how time flows differently for them. And she said here na she's now all the more interested to dig deeper about general relativity. So I think for me that means that we're achieving the goal of creating love for the subject, no? And that's something that they can carry for the rest of their lives. And hopefully, for some of them, they will also become scientists and mathematicians and engineers and join our community. Right, and finally, yeah, speaking of community, this also ties into building communities of scientists, of like-minded people, of communicators, educators around science. So I had the privilege of seeing this platform grow, the Pinoy Scientists platform, which I started when I was in a postdoc with the tagline, "Yes, we exist, get to know us," lamenting uh, the, the very little exposure of scientists and researchers in our public discourse. Happy to say that this has actually, I think, improved a lot over the past years and enabled by these new channels as well. So now Pinoy Scientist is on Facebook and also on Instagram and is reaching many young aspiring scientists as well. The good cool thing about this is it actually also became a community for the Pinoy scientists themselves because we are also seeking connections and we have common experiences, common travails, and common aspirations for our community and for our country. So the way this works is that we have guest takeovers. So we have Pinoy scientists sign up from physics, of course, but also from from any other any field of specialization. They introduce themselves and speak about their research, their life, and field work, how science is actually done. And This is Jay Fidelino, who's the Pinoy scientist guest this week, and he shared about his research on biodiversity, his thesis, master's thesis actually in UP, and also shared about the fieldwork Throwback Thursday, and looking forward to the time when they can do active fieldwork again. So I encourage you to check it out, and also always also encouraging people to sign up and it's a relatively friendly platform where you can share about your work and your science, life in science to a broader audience. For physics in particular, um, happy to share also about this very vibrant community that I'm privileged to be part of. This is the Physics Meetup hosted by the Central Mindanao University Physics Department. I was invited to speak last July. It's one of the first talks where I did it online and also got a digital certificate. So it will always be very memorable. And since then, we partnered, Pinoy scientists have partnered with Physics Meetup, and we've had amazing talks where scientists, researchers, physicists can share their research and their career, about their career in depth. We've had Dr. Reggie Bernardo most recently, just this last week, talk about black holes and cosmology, also in tune with the Nobel Prize this year. And Dr. Mickey Fidolig talk about big data. Hilary Andales talk about astronomy, and Gabriel Gallardo, also streaming from Europe and the US, shedding light on dark matter for his CERN research in CERN, and many more exciting talks lined up. And all this won't be possible without the lot of good work by the organizing team led by Adele Yuson and Sir Bien Tanes. And another thing that's been really impressive is how the partnership has grown together with this whole with not only Pinoy scientists, Earthshaker, Bukidnon Physics Society, these different societies, physics societies in CMU, Caraga State University, MSU Marawi, MSU Iligan, PNU Mindanao, USTP, and WMSU, and it's the family is growing. Again, I encourage you to participate and reach out if you'd like to be involved in this very friendly and vibrant community of physics students and educators and researchers. All right. So thank you again for the opportunity to share. I hope I've shared with you these takeaways with some stories to bring with you. Next time we will speak about science to any audience, your Facebook friends, your classmates, your students, your family. It helps to start with the world, start with their world, engage from where they are. Think about how we can approach it so that it's not about giving information necessarily, but about creating love or creating appreciation for what we do and for the field. And find ways to build a community of like-minded individuals, and together we can make an impact in the larger society. And I'm happy to be part of this community today as well. Thank you so much, and I look forward to meeting everyone and also answering any questions you may have.